News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwartzman. President Trump, speaking at a cabinet meeting at the White House, says he is not satisfied with negotiations with Iran to end the almost 3-month war, clouding expectations for an agreement. The president also reiterating that nobody would control the Strait of Hormuz.
They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
President Trump also says Iran would not get sanctions relief in exchange for giving up its stockpile of uranium.
We're not talking about any easing of sanctions or giving money. No sanctions, no money, no nothing. We have control of money that they claim is theirs. We'll keep control of that money. And when they behave properly and when they do what's right, we'll let them have their money.
Trump's comments coming on the heels of a report from Iranian state media claiming to have a copy of an unofficial draft memorandum of understanding of a deal between the U.S. and Iran to end the blockade of the strait. The White House, though, says the report is, quote, not true. Bloomberg's Kaylee Lines with more details.
This just continues the kind of conflicting narrative that Iran versus the United States has been putting out for the duration of this ceasefire and attempted diplomatic process, because, of course, President Trump himself would contend a number of things in True Social posts, including Iran being willing to give up its highly enriched uranium and for the U.S. to go in and take that out, only for Iranian state media to say no such agreement has been made.
That's Bloomberg's Kaylee Lines. Oil fell on optimism that the U.S. and Iran would reach a peace deal, despite President Trump saying he was not satisfied with negotiations and the almost 3-month war. West Texas Intermediate crude traded near $90 a barrel. That's a drop of nearly 5%. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook says inflation is heading in the wrong direction and that she would be prepared to raise interest rates if that continued.
After 5 years of above-target inflation, I am particularly attuned to the risk that elevated inflation will become embedded in price and wage-setting behavior. As such, I am prepared to raise rates if the expected disinflation does not appear in a timely manner.
Cook made her remarks in preparation for an event at Stanford University. Salesforce gave a revenue outlook for the current period that just fell short of analysts' estimates. Revenue will be about $11.3 billion in the fiscal second quarter, which ends in July. Analysts had projected $11.4 billion. With Salesforce being the leading maker of customer management software, investors had already been concerned about the possibility that artificial intelligence would disrupt the software business. Shares, though, were little changed in extended trading. Meanwhile, Snowflake shares jumping by almost 30% in late trading after the software maker gave a stronger than expected annual outlook and signed a $6 billion multi-year agreement to use Amazon's cloud services and chips. American Airlines CEO Robert Isom joined Bloomberg's Lisa Abramowitz to talk about the state of the airline. Isom says that higher fuel prices caused by the Iran war have not hurt the company's bottom line.
Think about in a year where price of fuel has spiked $4 or $5 billion, we're still projecting the same type of profitability that we had last year. That means good things.
That's American Airlines CEO Robert Isom on Bloomberg TV. Boeing with some good news as the airplane maker successfully completed a capstone review with the Federal Aviation Administration to further increase production of its best-selling 737 MAX to 47 jets per month. The move is a key step for the company to improve profitability and generate much-needed cash. The output is currently capped at 42 737 MAX jets a month. CEO Kelly Ortberg, speaking at the Bernstein Strategic Decisions Conference, talked about another sector of the company seeing growth.
Our weapons business is the demand is through the roof. So that's another area where we're going to quickly be talking about how many can we build, not how many can we get under order. We're working on expanding our production there. I was just at the Pentagon meeting with the Department of War yesterday on things like ramping up production.
That's Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg speaking at the Bernstein Strategic Decisions Conference. 2 people are now confirmed dead as emergency crews resume searching for missing workers after a tank imploded at a paper mill in Washington state. Officials say there is no hope of finding any more survivors after the release of a chemical mixture used to break down wood to make craft paper. Crews have had to first stabilize the tank, which could potentially collapse further. Authorities say, though, there is no threat to the local community. U.S. mortgage rates increasing last week to the highest highest since August. The contract rate on a 30-year mortgage rose 9 basis points to 6.65% in the week ended May 22nd. That's according to Mortgage Bankers Association data. Since the start of the Iran war at the end of February, the rate has climbed more than a half percentage point. We check markets all day long here at Bloomberg. Record highs across the board on Wall Street as the Dow finished up a little over 1/3%. The S&P 500 ended slightly up, while the Nasdaq closed up close to 0.1%. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.476%, while the 2-year yield is at 4.032%. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Dan Schwartzman, and this is Bloomberg.